Hi everybody, I'm Stacy here at Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com, and this is the Next Saturday with Stacy, YouTube class number 439. Welcome! Welcome to those who are just joining our Saturday with Stacy classes. If you are joining us during the premiere of this class on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. sunny California time, 11 a.m. in New York, or 4 p.m. in the United Kingdom, you will notice we are live chatting over on the side here. Please pop in, just type in, hi, I'm so-and-so from wherever it is you're from, and we'll all say hello and welcome to you. We're glad you're joining us. Now today's class is a tale of two manufacturers. I have got Studio Light for you and Hero Arts. They have both done products that are kind of similar, but not similar at all. And one of them is really affordable, budget friendly, and the other one is more of a little bit of a splurge, but they have a free gift for you, so that helps. Both products are lovely and make beautiful things. And I think that this YouTube is going to be a great YouTube for beginning crafters because you're going to see several different types of crafts. You're going to see stencils and die cutting and stamping. And for those of you who have been around since, well, forever, this class is going to give you oodles of options. Whether you just love the stencils or you just love the stamps or you're a FSS person, FSS, full set syndrome person, we've got that too. I also have the next 4 colors in the Scrapbooking Made Simple exclusive Hero Arts Cube program. We started with 24 colors, and over the course of this year, I'll be adding 16 more colors, and I have the next 4 colors for you. So I'm excited to show you those. Now, don't forget, I have Winner Chicken Dinner to talk about, but don't forget if you want it to have a chance to be a Winner Chicken Dinner and receive a $25 gift card to Scrapbooking Made Simple, what do you have to do? All you have to do is post a comment below. Live chat doesn't count, but right below, you can post a comment. And to do that, you do have to be a subscriber. There's a little heart over here. You just click that heart, subscribe to our channel. We would so greatly appreciate having you as a subscriber. And then you can post your comment below. And every week I pick 2 winner chicken dinners. Now, I ask that your comments be kind. You can say anything you want as long as it is nice. Last week I was told that my laugh is a little creepy, so they're not gonna watch anymore. Okay, so be it from the girl with the creepy laugh. Hold on just a moment. Wait, I forgot to start this. Hold on. There we go. So much for the girl with the creepy laugh. I'm like, well, what am I going to do about that, right? So just be nice. You can tell me about your fur babies or your grandbabies or your children or your work or your spouse or what you cooked for dinner or the fact that you don't want to do laundry today and you'd rather sit in your craft room and play. All of that is perfectly fine. Let's just keep off the little attributes of me. There are things I cannot change about myself, and there are things I wouldn't want to change about myself, as I'm sure you feel the same about you. So, post your comments, have a chance to be a winner chicken dinner, and then you'll be able to, who knows, spend it on maybe some of the goodies that I'm showing you today. Again, 2 companies, similar type product, but done in totally different ways. And you'll see what I'm talking about once we get there. And then it's up to you what you'd prefer or how you would prefer to do it. And that'll be your decision, your option to make. And some of this, like I said, some of this is going to fit into everybody's crafty budget. I mean, really, some of this is under $10. I want to say some of it's right around $5, and wait till you see what you get for that price. Holy smokes, artichokes. All right, I've got winner chicken dinner to talk about, and there's 4 of you because we had to skip a week. We had technical difficulties. But we didn't this week. Yay! All right, so our first winner from YouTube, number 437, which was the do's and don'ts class of the switch machine. and you've won a $25 gift card to the store is Connie. Connie Hodges. Hello, Connie. There you are. Congratulations, Connie. But you are not alone. Our second winner from that YouTube is Anita. Anita Legassi. Anita Legassi, is that it? Hello, Anita. Congratulations to you as well. But the two of you have friends from last week, which was YouTube number 438. And it was the shaker dies. Oh my gosh, weren't those fun? Those were also, we had shaker dies in from Studio Light also. We don't always have their product in because it can be hard to get. But, well, when I saw it, I bought it all. I am good. I am Stacy, and I am part of the full set syndrome. I have to have, if I see something I like, I have to buy all of it. So I'll go around. I'll buy from the manufacturer, and then all the little distributors that they sell to, I'll grab that product. I have to have all of it. It's terrible. And so Mr. SMS is like, really? And I'm like, yes, I do. Don't look. Just don't look. It's a good thing he works upstairs and I work downstairs because all the shipments get delivered downstairs. So he doesn't see what comes in. He just sees stacks and stacks of boxes and I'm like, ignore them. Just walk away. He doesn't understand. All right, our second set of winners was from the shaker dies and the clear scraps shakers, which were just so cute. And our first winner is Sue. Sue Townsend. Hello, Sue. How are you doing today? You're a winner chicken dinner. And our next winner is Wanda. Wanda Harris. Wahoo, ka-choo for you, Wanda. So I have Wanda Harris. I have Sue Townsend. I have Anita Legassi. And I have Connie Hodges. All right, you guys, that's 4 winners, and your $25 is already in your online account. Wahoo, ka-choo, go spend it on anything that makes your heart happy. I think some of this that you see today may make your heart happy. And let's do the winner chicken dinner dance for all 4 of you. Are you ready? You're a winner, chicken dinner. You're a winner, chicken dinner. Wahoo, ka-choo for you. Congratulations to all of you, and enjoy your winnings from me to you. Buy something frivolous. Do something fun with it. Don't be predictable. Don't buy adhesive. Get something you always wanted to try and just could not justify it. Now you don't have to. All right, so I want to show you some samples, and I think I don't have too many announcements for today. All the switch winners have been announced. Congratulations to all of the switch winners. For those of you who have purchased a switch, we are working with Ellison right now on how best to send over all of the orders. So I'll be talking with them on Monday. The switches, a bulk of them have come in. There's some of you who are looking in late April, early May for your switch. Those of you were on reserve. But the rest of you, the switches have come into Ellison and they are literally QCing them now. So they open up every single machine and test every single machine. So if your box looks like it may have been opened, it's possible, well, it is, because they took your machine out and they are QCing it here at Ellison's headquarters in Lake Forest, every single machine. So now it's just a matter of working with them on how many orders we can send over comfortably every week, every day, that they then can ship out. We can't bombard them. We have to be respectful, and honestly, it's going to take us time to put all of those POs together. So if we do it in a systematic format, I'll be excited. I'm anticipating that they will start shipping to customers by the end of next week. So yay for you if you ordered a switch machine at the $169.99 price. Do I know if I'm getting any more in? I don't know if I'm getting any more in. But if you would all like to email Ellison at Sizzix.com, email Sizzix.com and say, gosh, wouldn't it be nice if Stacy had some more switch machines to sell at $169.99? Well, so keep an eye out for those of you who have paid for your machine. Thank you very much. For those of you who have not paid for your machine, your invoices will be coming quickly as we are sending them out. So we're only going to be able to do so many every week to keep us in, you know, we can't just stop everything to send all the switch machines order over, and they obviously have to build that into their production time too. So just keep an eye out. You'll know if your machine is going to be on the way to you soon when it gets moved over to awaiting fulfillment. You'll get an email saying your status has changed to awaiting fulfillment. So that gives you an update on the switch machines. And if I do get more in, we will let you know. And I will keep them at the $169.99 for as long as I possibly can. Absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see if they raise my price. We'll see. But good on you, everybody who got one. Okay, so I think I'm going to tilt down for today, and I'll show you some samples, and I think I'm going to start with the Hero Arts inks first and show you the 4 new colors, and then I'm going to move over to Studio Light, and then we're going to go into Hero Arts. Are you ready? Down we go. Bye, everybody. See you in a little bit. Okay, and let's zoom on in. So this is Friday morning that I am taping this class. I normally do it Thursday night, but yesterday, I'd like to forget yesterday. ever had one of those days or a couple days where you just wish you could just forget the whole week? Yep. All right, here is our first sample. Isn't this darling? Look at how cute. And this is a bigger card. This is a 5x7 card. Then I have here for you. And look at how pretty is that. Yay. And finally, I have here. The blues are just beautiful. All done in a slimline size card. All right, so I'm going to start with the inks first because I want to show you the 4 newest colors. So we have brought in, we have a total of 24 current colors of cubes from Hero Arts. Now Hero Arts sells cubes in 4-packs, but they've never sold them open stock before. And I went to them and I said, I'd like to have these cubes, but I want them individual. I want individual cubes, please. And they said, well, oh, okay. So that's what we did. We did individual cube inks that retail for $2.99. And we started with 24 colors. And over the course of the next year, I'll be bringing out another 16 colors, and today is the first day. What color is missing here? First thing I noticed was a brown. So color number 1 for 2022, I am bringing in a brown. What else is missing here? Well, we've got 2 pinks and 2 reds and several greens and a couple grays and a lot of blues, but we only have 1 purple. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now we've brought in 2 new colors, 2 new purples. And then lastly, a raspberry to kind of round out the reds and the pinks. So I want to show you the color, and I think I'm going to do it on this. Let's grab a piece of paper. So I'm going to move these off to the side, and I want to actually show you the colors because the lids can be a little deceiving. Okay, so I've got grape jelly, which is an original color. Oh, come on. Open, open, open. There we go. And it's a really dark purple. we didn't have anything that was more of a lighter purple. So I brought in soft purple, but you look at that lid and you're like, huh, there's nothing soft about that purple. That's a dark purple. Well, kind of yes and kind of no. We needed another color. Here I've got orchid. So even though the orchid is a lighter lid than the soft purple, I now have at least 3 purples for you, with the orchid and the soft purple being the 2 new. Then we didn't have a brown at all. So I started with 1 brown just to give us a brown because we needed a brown. And then last, we had a couple reds. Let's see, we have royal red here. Let's see, I've got royal red and so this is pale tomato, which is an existing color. And this is a royal red, which is an existing color. And then we brought in raspberry jam. Because I felt we needed it. So the 16 colors that are coming this year are going to fill in. They're going to fill in the colors that I feel were missing from the first 24. And I think that these 4 colors here are great colors to start with. And so when I picked the colors, I swatched everything out. I swatched all of these and I swatched every color that I could possibly pick from. And then without looking at the names, I laid them out in color families and started moving things around to see what was missing and what we needed. And then I turned them over and said, oh, this one we already have, but this one, which goes with it perfectly, we do not. And that's how the colors came to be. I didn't look at names. I just swatched everything out and then started to coordinate and make color stories. So these are the 4 for this quarter. Our original 24 are here. Let me move them off to the side. I'm going to put in I Want It All on the first 4, these. And I'm not going to do an I Want It All on the original 24 so it doesn't get confusing. So if you wanted all 28, you would buy the I Want It All here and then the open stock on the rest of them. And of course they'll be on a YouTube Yummy sale. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wait a minute. I can put them back in my bin. So that tells you a little bit about the Hero Arts inks. And you know, it's really awesome that Hero allowed us to do this. They had to do this program specifically for us. I asked for it, I wanted it, and they were able to get it for us. So a big thank you to Hero Arts because we are the only company that has this program, that has these inks sold this way and at this price. Okay, so I'm going to be playing with these a lot today. And I then am going to bring over, I think, my Studio Light. So Studio Light has brought out layering stencils, and they have 4 different layering stencils. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the back, it shows you all 4 layering stencils. And can you see the size of the stencil? They're rather large, maybe 5 by 8. They're a rather large stencil, which means that they fit together. It fits together really nicely. They lay on top of each other really nicely. But everything you need is on one stencil. So it's not that you're going to have 3 stencils in here and layer them on top. It's one stencil that you then take the different elements and layer it. And I want to show you how. One of the first things that I think is most important for you to know, let me open this up, is to never, 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 never throw away the insert. Laminate it, whatever you need to do, but you need to keep this piece. This is inside the packaging. It's what the stencil laid on top of, and most people would just throw this away as trash. They would just check it. I need you to keep it. It's so important. Put something across this top that says do not throw away, because this is just like a decoupage. It's going to tell you here's 1A, here's 1B, here's 1C, here's 1D. This tells you the layers that you're going to want to do. Not only that, they've color coded it. So your lightest layer, your next darkest, and finally your darkest layer. This tells you, this is your instruction manual. It tells you how to put everything together. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to do one really quick on this, and then I think I might move to this one and do a full for you, just so you can see. Now, it is just one stencil. There's no stamps, there's no dies to go with it. It is a single stencil, and I want to say it retails for like $6.75, but then it's on a YouTube Yummy sale, which is, so $6.75, that's 67 cents off times 2, so that's $134. Does that sound right? So it's going to be in the $5.50 range for the stencil. And what you can do with it is simply amazing. But there is some tricks and some techniques to it that you're going to want to know ahead of time. So I've got my paper here, and see, I like to have the picture just so I can get an idea of how everything is supposed to lay out. You've got it on the back too, which is important. And that way I know how I kind of want to orientate my card or my layout, if I'm making this for a layout or mixed media. Do I want the image to be this way? Do I want the image to be that way? Do I want the image to be this way? And then I'm going to set that kind of in front of me so I can follow along. Now, depending on where I want it, and I think I'm just going to do exactly how they have. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it here. Depending on how I want it, I lay it down on my paper, and then if I tape it down, let's go ahead and tape it down. Just so it doesn't move around. I want to show you what's going to happen. So this is how we would normally start a stencil. I want to do this little piece right here. I've taped it down. I'm going to grab, let's say, my soft purple. Bring over my blending brush. Let's grab I can grab a piece of paper over here. I can use one of these as my tap off. Got my blending brush from Couture Creations. They come with the cute little hats. Tap off some of my color because I want this to be really, really light. And I would go in there and I would just start moving my color around. And get a light color going. Only problem is, because the other cuts are so close, so they could fit it all on one stencil, I've now gotten into other areas of the stencil that I don't want. Remember, there's no die for this, so the only way to cut it out would be to fussy cut. So I need to remedy this problem. And this is where a little extra work on your part is going to be a very big help. There and there. Okay, that's enough. You are going to need Now remember, I told you the price was in the $5.50 range, which is a really amazing price for a stencil that's going to layer and do several flowers. But for that, you're going to have to do a little extra work on your end. It's not hard at all, and the savings is absolutely worth it. They didn't make 5 or 6 different stencils that are going to layer on top of each other. That would run far more money than $5 or $6. They did it all on one. I need you to have Post-it notes, because we're going to take Post-it notes and I'm just going to mask off all the way around my flower. Just mask it off. Doesn't have to be anything more than Post-it notes. That way, oh, it looks like a flower itself, a Post-it note flower. That way, as my brush goes off, it doesn't get anywhere else except for on the Post-it notes. So let's do it again. And I'm start with my purple, and I'm gonna go really light on this purple, on this new soft purple. I wanna go really light because it's my opening color. So I need that to be my lightest color. Why do I need it to be my lightest color? Because I'm gonna layer the stencil on top and on top and on top. And if I start with a dark color to begin with, then any color I put on top of it will have to be darker than this base color. If I started this really dark purple and then I wanted to go to a light purple on top of it, there's no way that dark purple is just going to absorb in that color and you'll never see the light purple. So look at how soft is this. And you can see I've gone around and around and I've gotten it on some of my Post-it notes, and that is exactly what they're there for. I'm gonna pull off my Post-it notes. I'm not gonna get new ones. I'm just gonna use these again and again and again. In fact, I don't even really need to have the tape up here if I don't want to, because the Post-it notes are gonna put it in place. Now, because this is a bigger stencil, they were able to put most of everything right in order, where all you do is, here's my first one, all you do is slide it up and my second one fits right in. I don't have to rotate it or find the position. I pretty much just slide it up and it slides right on in. So here's my second stencil. And I'm gonna, there we go. I'm gonna Post-it note it down again. These same old Post-it notes all the way around my stencil. That way I cover up any place where there's a possibility of me getting the ink on the paper. Even on this outside edge, there's an outside edge right here. I don't want to ink on that because I'm not going to cut this out. So I'm going to put my Post-it note there and there and one more right there. So I'm masking off everything that I don't want the ink to get into. I'm just masking it off, easy peasy. And then I think I'm going to use, how about we use a little raspberry jam this time? Also a new color. So I've got my red and I've tapped it off on my paper, and this is my second layer. So I want to keep this one also fairly, move that over just a little bit, fairly light. not too dark. Because looking at my stencil, I've done this one, I'm doing this one. I still have these two to go. So I don't want to go too dark. All right. Take my Post-it notes. I'm not going to get rid of them. I'm just going to keep on using them. And now I have 2 layers. But there's 4 layers to this one flower. So let's move it up. And it will position itself. It just literally positions itself. And back with my Post-it notes. So is it a little extra work because you don't have 4 or 5 different stencils to layer on top of each other? Yeah, it is. It's a little extra work. But for the price, is it worth the extra work? You bet it is. Okay. Oh, still need one right over there. Don't want to get that any ink over there. So I'm going to take my raspberry jam and I'm going to go again a little bit darker this time. A little bit darker. Because I still have one last layer to add. Okay, there we are. Take off our Post-it notes. Oh, now you're really seeing it come together, right? But I still have one last little piece. One last little piece that just fits kind of right in the center. I still have to mask everything off. So a Post-it there, and a Post-it here, and a Post-it here, and a Post-it there. And now I'm going to use the raspberry jam and I'm going to go really dark. I didn't even tap it off. Done. See how I got it all over my Post-it notes, but not all over my paper. And then let's peel them off. Done. So pretty. Now it absolutely has the leaves to go with it. I probably didn't leave enough room for the leaves to go with it, but well, maybe I did. Let's see. So the leaves that go with it are 4A and 4B. 4A and 4B go with the main flower. So let's get it in the right order. And 4A is going to go here. Oh, there we go. Fits right where it's supposed to. Look at that. So it fits right where it's supposed to. Lines right up with the flower, right there. Right up with the flower, easy peasy. And I have to postie it again, because all I want it to do is that leaf. So I'm going to mask everything else off. To make sure all I do is that leaf. Okay, put my red away. And then, I don't know, let's do a soft brown. Let's see what happens. You're like, brown for a leaf? I don't know, let's try. It's only white paper. So a little bit of soft brown. So I'm going super light. I'm tapping off almost all my ink. Okay, so first part of my leaf. And then my second part, which is just going to go right on top. Lines right up. Mask it off. Make sure all the white paper around it is covered, and anywhere on the stencil that has an opening that I don't want to be colored. And we'll go with a green. So let's do lime green. Lime green is an original color. And because I've got all that masking around it, I don't have to be careful. Okay, I think that's good. So that's where we're at. And we have started to make our finished project. It is super easy, it's super fast, it's super effective, and for the price, the detail that you get on the layering is amazing. Amazing, really it is. And it can be just as easy as 1, 2, 3. If I was not teaching this, and how long would it take me if it was just me doing it at my desk? Well, super fast. So if I wasn't stopping to show you each step individually, and I just did it, okay, let's play with our orchid, which is a new color. And we'll pull out our purple again. And this time I'm just going to go fast. Layer 1. Done. Slide it up to layer 2. Line it up. Mask. Yep, I moved it. Layer number 2, I'm going to keep with the orchid. I'll go a little darker. Okay, done. Layer 2 is done. Move my mask. Come up to layer 3. I'm going to stay with my orchid. Layer 2. Go up. That looks good. Mask. Stacy. Let's try not to move it this time. So one there, one there, one there, one there, down here, and right there. I'm going to stay with my orchid. I'm going to make this one a little bit closer. There we go. Stay with my orchid and go a little bit darker. Okay, I think that's a little bit darker. And then last, my center. Put that right in my center and mask everything off around it. And I'm going to stay with my orchid and do it really dark. All right. One color all the way through. Pretty darn fast. And bam. Right? Easy peasy. And with this, you get one flower here and another flower here and a bud here. So it's not that you're just getting one flower. You've got everything to do this whole image here. I just did the main flower. You still have here and here to do with all the greenery around it. Super easy. let's play with the rose for a minute. So I'm going to put this one aside and put this one aside. And I'm going to play with the rose for a minute. Now, I'm going to stick with my same colors, so I'm just going to use my same Post-it notes until my Post-it notes can't be used anymore. Let's open it up. And what did I say? You never want to throw the backing sheet away. This is your guide. This is what tells you how to layer everything. So let's do this one. And let's do the whole thing. So I'm going to start kind of here with 1, 2A, 2B, 2C. So this one, instead of going up and down, I'm going to move it over, and I'll show you. So let's start with number 1. I'm going to do this flower here first. This one right here is where I'm going to start, my biggest one. And I'm going to mask everything off around it. Let's put my lid back on. Ooh, where did I put my lid? Anybody seen it? I know it's here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Okay, yay. Thank you. And let's go around. And let's go around. So these are by Studio Light. They make layered images without having layered stencils, because every time you cut a stencil, you're adding to the price. My Simply Defined Kaleidoscope stencils have 3 layers to them. They're value priced at $9.99. But that's a relatively low price for layering stencils. Studio Light has put all the design so that you are able to get that complete element on one stencil. Let's do my red. And we'll just start super light with my red, which is actually raspberry jam. Super light. Okay, I think that's light enough. Now on this stencil, instead of going and moving it from the bottom, my little cheat sheet shows that I'm going to go from here to here, to A to B. So to A to B. Now I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to move it over, and it magically just lines up. There's no twisting or turning or going, is that it? You just slide it over. And then don't move it. And I'm going to tape it back down. So one here, one here, here, and I'm still using the same stencils. Oh, I hear people coming into work. It was very early when I got here this morning. It's very quiet. Okay, so I've got the 5, I've got it all covered. Let's go back into my raspberry jam, this time a little darker. All right, that's a little darker. Now let's look, and I go, let's see, to A, to B, to C. So I'm gonna move up my 2C and line it up. And just like that, there it is. All I have to do is cover it up. So if you've never stenciled before, boy, this is an easy way to get it done. If you like the look of layering stencils, your Post-it notes are going to make your life a lot easier. Now I'm going to look and say it has 2A, 2B that I've done. I'm on 2C, but there is a 2D. Oh my, I'm not 100% sure where that's going to go. But we'll figure it out. I'm going to go a little darker in my raspberry jam. Oh, it goes right in the middle. Goes right in the middle. Layer. And cover. And hide. Hopefully I've got it close to the right place. And ink. And we've started. Now that's just using one color ink. Okay, moving on. So I've got that one done. I think I'm going to do my stem next. That's going to go upwards. So stem next is going to be Hmm. 3A, 3B. All right, 3A, 3B. Look at my picture and look at that. So there's my leaf, or my part of my flower is right here. And I just laid that right over the top like it showed me to. And there, I'm ready to do my leaves. And the nice thing is, when you do this one, it's going to line up your top one too. So there is all of my stem for this set. It all lines up at once. Okay, I like that. That works for me. Okay, let's mask it. So I have to mask from way up here. I don't want that. Anything I don't want to be green, I need to mask off. And I don't want my white paper. Oh, Stacy, don't move it. And maybe one more just to be certain I don't get it up there. So now I have masked off everything except for what I want to be. Can you see the leaves there? Can you see the stem up there? I covered everything else up. And I think I will do, I was using my purple for my red. I think I will do a little bit of brown on my stems. So maybe a little bit of brown here. And then I'll finish it off with green. So I've done just a little bit of brown. We're going to add a little bit of green. And because I've got all my Post-it notes, I don't have to worry that I'm going to get it on my beautiful white paper or accidentally go into a part that I have already stenciled or a part that I don't want to stencil at all that belongs to a different flower. Okay, I think that's good. And then I'm going to do the green that puts the definition, or the stencil that puts the definition into those leaves. So I'm just going to move it right over, and it's going to line itself right on up again. Love that it lines itself right on up. And Post-it note down. I think it might be time for new Post-it notes. They're starting to tear a little bit. But how many times have I used it so far, right? And I'm going to go around any place I want to be sure I don't get my ink. Let's go a little bit, we'll go a little bit more up in my brown, just a little bit more, a little bit on my stem. And then my green. Brown with brown, green with green. I'm going to go darker on my green, and I'm just using the same colors over and over again. The only thing I'm changing is the saturation of the colors. How heavy of a color am I putting down? So how saturated is that ink? By tapping it off, I'm keeping the saturation very light. By not tapping it off, I'm adding full color, making it darker. Okay, let's see where we're at. Oh, my Post-it notes. And all I have left to do is my top rosebud. And I'm going to look at my picture again. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to see where it lines up. Now I'm going to tell you, with this top rosebud, you have options. You can put it where they want you to put it, which is right here. But you can put it over here or over here. You can decide where you want to put that top rosebud. You've got some options. So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to line it up where they want me to, kind of, sort of. I'm just going to put it in there and Post-it note around it again. So if you are not good at coloring, This is an easy way to do something. To get depth and definition in multi-levels of color. And I was using my orchid, right? Okay, so let's find my orchid again. I think I was using orchid, right? Let's bring orchid out, and I'll go really light because I'm on my first layer. It's really light. Okay, done. Move it over. And this one's just gonna slide on into place. Look at that, just slide it on over. Post-it note around. Still using my orchid, a little darker. Okay, that's a little darker. And number 3. Slide it on over. Post-it note down. So they really take away the fear of stenciling because they've told you exactly where to place the stencil. They've lined it up for you. The only thing you have to think about really is the orientation and what color you want it to be. And since you're only working on white paper, experiment, have fun, play with color. Did I accidentally get that one a little too tight at the top? Yeah, a little too tight. There we go. You have options. It's white paper. Finish it. And then see what you think. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it was so easy. And it was done with a stencil that's gonna be about $5 and gosh, I think $5.50, somewhere in that range. It looks like you're a rock star. You don't have to tell them that you had granimals for stencils. Because really, her color stencil by numbers. I mean, you don't have to tell anybody that. Let them think that you slaved over how hard it was to get all those layers done just perfectly, just so. Man, that's pretty. And then make of it what you want. Studio Light did a beautiful job on these stencils. They were thoughtful in how they put them together. They had somebody who must have been a crafter try them out and give them ideas on, you know, what to do. I just have to believe that whoever helped design these obviously was a crafter, because look at how easy they went together. Wonderful product, affordable product. 4 different stencils to choose from. Okay, we have quantity, but we don't have a huge quantity of these. So there will be an I want it all. I have samples to show you of all of them. And at the price we're bringing them to you for, if your crafty budget allows for one, isn't that nice to know that you can at least get, you can get something, you can start something new, you can play with something. And for the price, if you get one and you say, oh, it's not for me, you don't feel horrible. Spending $5 to play, to decide, do I really like to do this? That's not a big investment. Spending $40 to play, to say, do I really like to do that? that's an investment. And for those of you who know you like to stencil, well, these are just a win-win-win. They really are. Key to this is the Post-it note. Without question, you got to have the Post-it note. I mean, if you have other ways of masking, by all means, but to me, the Post-it note works the best. Oh, and you know what I want to show you? I want to show you that. Maybe I'll do... Maybe I'll do this one super fast, because I want to show you that, just so you know. Don't get rid of the directions. These are super important, whether you attach the stencil somehow to the top or whatever. Don't get rid of these, because this is going to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to tell you what you need to do. So let's go ahead and let me put this down, because I do want to show you that. And I think I'm going to use some new Post-it notes. 1, 2, 3. So the biggest one is always going to take the most amount of Post-it notes. Okay. So I think I'll alternate between the red and the purple again. Let's do that. So let's get red and purple out. And let's get soft purple and raspberry jam out. And I think I'm going to alternate between the two. So I'll start with maybe soft purple in the background, or no, I'll start with raspberry jam in the background. How about that? Oops. So I want to go really light red. Really light raspberry jam. Okay, that works. That's done. That's as dark as I need it. Pull up my stencil. Oh, look at that. I didn't cut. Oh, Stacy, see, look at that. I didn't have it fully covered. Flip it over, put it back down, and this time, make sure all my white paper is covered. And do it again. Okay. Good enough. Pull off my Post-it notes. And it says, on my little instructions, it says 1, 2. So I'm just going to slide 2 right on up. And it's going to find its home. Which looks like right there. Put my Post-it notes around again. Make sure I cover everything this time. Good grief. But you saw white paper has 2 sides. I just flipped it over and started again. You can't get caught up in the oopsies. You gotta just let them go. It happens to everybody. And it's part of crafting. If everything was perfect, it'd say Hallmark on it. Okay, so let's go. Do I want to go into my, do I want to do a little soft purple? Maybe a little more, no, what? Maybe, no, we'll just keep with the red, and maybe I'll do some purple in a minute. We'll see. So a little bit deeper in my red. But not too dark because I still have 2 more layers to go. Okay. Oh, look at how beautiful this is. Okay, now it says move to, I did 1, I did 2, move to number 3. And you're like, but where's the technique you wanted to show us? I'm getting there. Hold on, hold on. So move to number 3. And 3 is just gonna line on up. I love how easy they line up. Make sure all my white is covered. I'm not going to get chintzy with the Post-it notes. I'm just going to use, what I need to get the job done. Because I've got other stencils into this one, so I don't want to accidentally get. And now I think I'll change into my purple. And I'm going to go a little darker in my purple. Okay, I think that's good. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, that's coming out beautiful. And then the last one I have to do is the middle, the little middle. Which is right there. Now the middle, you've already got so many layers on that it might be hard to get. I mean, I can go darker and darker and darker, but what if you wanted to do that middle in a red? It would be a little difficult because I've already got such a dark purple down there. Remember, that dark purple is going to absorb anything that's lighter. But what if I wanted that little piece to be a lighter color? What am I going to do? Easy peasy. I'm going to use a dye-based ink. This is Hero Art's dye-based, not pigment-based, dye-based white ink. This is kind of your softening and oopsies. We use unicorn ink a lot, but it is a pigment-based ink, so it takes longer to dry. This is a typical dye-based ink, which means that your white isn't going to be as white as a unicorn ink, but all I want to do is lighten my center. Remember last week when we took white and we covered the chipboard just to get rid of some of that chipboard brown so we could then take alcohol ink markers and cover that chipboard. Well, that's all I'm doing here. I'm kind of lightening that color so that when I put something over the top of it, you'll be able to see it. I had that dark purple in there. And if I put my red over that dark purple, you're not going to get any red. I'm using a dye-based ink because it absorbs into the paper faster. Could you use your unicorn ink? Yes, but you're going to have to wait for it to dry before you put on your next ink. This is going straight into the paper and absorbing super fast like any dye-based ink. This is the same as this, is the same as this. They are all dye-based inks, so they absorb into the paper much faster than a pigment-based ink. Remember, there's the ACDPs of ink. Alcohol dries the fastest, chalk dries the second fastest, dye is really close to chalk, starts with a D. D and C are close together, so dye absorbs into the paper almost as fast as chalk, and then you got to go all the way down the alphabet to get to a P, which is pigment. Pigment takes a really long time. It's at the end of the alphabet. All the way down the alphabet to get to a P, and that's pigment-based ink because it takes all that time to dry. Alcohol, A. So if you know your ABCs, you can remember what kind of ink dries fastest. A. A stands for alcohol. It's at the beginning of the alphabet. It's the very first letter. It dries super fast. C. C is for chalk ink. It's almost at the beginning of the alphabet. I mean, it's very close to A, and it dries not as fast as alcohol, but pretty darn fast. And then D is dye-based ink. Dye-based ink and chalk-based ink, they're right next to each other in the alphabet, so they dry almost at the same speed. But then P, pigment, is all the way down at the end, and that's going to take the longest to dry. If you remember your ABCs, you can remember when you're out shopping, you have to use the right ink for the right project. And hopefully that will help you remember what inks dry and what speed. So now I can put my red over it, and it'll look red because I softened it with that white. I could go in and soften anything I want to lighten a color up if I need to. I just need to use that dye-based white. If you use unicorn, it's going to make it super white, which is really nice, but you're going to have to wait for it to dry. That's a beautiful flower. Okay, now we are moving on. So we have played with the Studio Light stencils. They make layering looks with only one stencil. One stencil will do everything you need to make the project, to make the flower as shown. There's 4 different sets. And now I've done a little bit of 3 of them. I did all of this one. I've played with these. And I played with this one. Value priced for sure. Key, Post-it notes. You gotta have the Post-it notes, and you have to keep the piece of the liner that comes with it because that is your directions. That is your instructions. Like I said, poke a hole here, punch a hole here, and string them together. Whatever it is you need to do to keep them together, you don't want to lose your instructions. Value priced, absolutely. But then we go into the Hero Arts product, which is beautiful product. They've also done layering stencils. So we have three layering stencils, and there's 4 layers to each stencil, which means we're not going to have to use Post-it notes at all. But then they also made a matching stamp to go with it. 'It Not that you would use the stamp and the stencil together, but you might. But then they also made a matching stamp and die set. So if you wanted to use this stencil and you wanted to die cut it out, you could. If you wanted to use this stamp and die cut it out, you could. They've given you lots of options with this, and the way we are going to sell it is that you can buy just the stamp if you just want the stamp. You can buy just the stencil if you want just the stencil. You can buy the stamp and die if you just want the stamp and die. Or we'll have an I Want It All, because there are 3 different packs. And the I Want It All will have all 3 stencils. So we've got a tulip stencil, we've got a floral in a vase, and we've got the roses. You would get all 3 of those, and you would get the stamp and die combo. So the I Want It All for Hero Arts is going to give you the die, the stamp, the stencil for all 3 sets. The die, the stamp, the stencil. The die, the stamp, the stencil. And then Hero Arts is throwing in on the I Want It All a sentiment set for you completely free. That for Hero Arts is the I Want It All bundle. But that's okay. You don't have to get the I Want It All bundle. Maybe you just want the stencils. We're going to sell the stencils all on their own. Maybe you just really want the tulip stamp. Okay, we're going to sell the tulip stamp all on its own. You have options on how you want to allocate your crafty budget. It's up to you. I'm going to start with the stencils. I think I'm going to do this one. I'm going to start with the stencils because we've been working on stencils, and I want you to see the difference between the Hero Arts stencils and the Studio Light stencils, knowing that there is a price difference. There has to be. You are getting 1, 2, 3, 4 stencils. There has to be a price difference versus a company that's just giving you, I don't want to say just because it's a great value, you're getting 1 stencil to do all of the work. And remember, we had to do the masking. We had to mask off the different elements so that we didn't accidentally get ink all over into open spaces. Here, you're not going to have to do any of the masking at all because they are meant to layer right on top of each other. So let's get a piece of paper and let's start. You're always going to start with your most open stamp or your most open stencil. And because I don't have to use Post-it notes anymore, I do have to tape it down. Now, I don't think they marked theirs. And I'm going to take their example and I'm going to do it their way, but then I'm going to flip it. So let's look at the example and let's do it their way first. So their way is like this. They don't have the stencils marked up and down, back and front. You may want to take a pen if you want to use it. If you want to use it the way they have it, exactly the way they have it, you may want to take a pen. Do I have a Sharpie anywhere? You know, I should learn to have a Sharpie on my table at all times. You may want to write on the back of it, if you're going to use it exactly like they do each and every time, you could definitely write on the back of it, stencil 1 and up. Just so I know that's stencil 1 and it goes up. All right, same thing. We're going to start with a super light color. How about the orchid? So I'll use the orchid. Super light color because it's our background. I need to tap it off. And then let's go in. And because there's no other cuts on the stencil, I don't have to worry about masking. No other cuts on the stencil. I can go straight in and just do my color. Okay, stencil number 1 done. Pretty simple, right? Stencil number 2. And up. And this is going to layer. Oh, is that right? Stacy, was that right? No, it's that way. Okay. Alcohol ink? Anyone? Anyone? Alcohol ink? Nope. So now we needed to go really 2 up. So I'm going to have to get rid of that. 2 up. And it lays right on top. There's not a lot of wiggling around looking for the right position. It just kind of floats in right on top, which is what a good layering stencil is supposed to do. Just kind of float in right on top. But you saw that it worked well with the Studio Light too. I do have to tape it down. So it doesn't move. And let's go in. Let's go in with a darker. So unlike the Studio Light stencils that have 3 or 4 layers to every flower, the Hero Arts has 2. You have 2 layers for your flowers, 2 layers for your leaves, where the Studio Light gave you 3 and 4 layers of color. Okay, I think that's good. So that's where I'm at. Then we'll have our leaves. Boy, I want to make sure I've got this right. Okay, there. See, I had it this way. I'm like, that's not looking so good. Flipped it around and it just lines up. So this would be 3. And up. Let's go back. Find my I'm going to say that looks pretty good. Tape it down. And let's go in. Let's go in with a soft green. So I don't need my purple anymore. Let's get my green. Black, yellow, brown, blue, green. And I don't need to have any masking. And I might even throw just a little bit of brown down just to give it some definition, just to get some definition in the color. So take my soft brown. Ooh, Stacy. Just in a few places, add a little bit of the brown. Just to get some shadow and some highlight maybe. And then my last one adds all the detail. Nope. Yep. My last one adds all the detail to my leaves. And tape it down. And I'm just using Sizzix Maker's tape because they've given you so much around. I'm not exactly sure why they gave you so much to go around, but they did. So Sizzix Maker's tape is going to hold it just fine. In fact, I don't even need that piece. Did I move? Well, I'm going to go for it. It's only white paper. And I will come back in with my green. I've been using lime green the whole time, but because I added a little bit of brown to it, I'm hoping it just gives a little more definition. And as long as I don't go off my stencil, I'm not going to go onto my paper. As long as I don't go way up here or way over there, I'm good. Okay, what do we think? I'm just going to add a little brown towards the bottoms of some of these, just to give a little bit of depth perception. They're so pretty. They're so pretty. But you have the opportunity then to also die cut. Because it comes with dies if you buy the stamp and die set. We are not selling the dies separately. So it's either the stamp and die set or the stamp, but we're not selling the dies on their own. Oh, and see? Oh no, that's right. I was gonna say, and see, I did it backwards. So let's open the die set. Now the way their dies come, they are still the smaller dies. You get little extra dies. They've given you a few extra little dies. is that they're still attached. So you do have to snip them off or twist them off. If you have snippers, you can do that. I tend to twist until that metal comes off. Bend back and forth and back and forth, and there's that one. And bend back and forth and back and forth. And there's that one. But you do have to get them out of the center before you can use them. Oop, and there's that. Okay. Now, I can die cut it out. So unlike Studio Light, Hero Arts has given you the whole package. They've given you the coordinating stamp, the coordinating die, and the coordinating stencil. I've got my Sizzix Big Shot machine here. I've got a magnetic platform that is sold separately to your machine. We do have a bundle where you get the machine and the magnetic platform together. The benefit of the magnetic platform is that when you are doing a stamp and cut like this, the magnetic platform holds the die in place, so you don't have to tape it down. When you need precise cutting, when you need to be sure you're getting it around exactly what you want to get around, you want the magnetic platform, or you need to use washi tape or the Sizzix Makers tape to hold the die in place, because you don't want it to move once you've got it where you need it to go. And then I'm going to send it on through. And I have die cut it out. Now, I find that it leaves a little bit of white around the edges, and you may like the white around the edges. For me, I typically will take a little bit of my color and just kind of maybe dust over the white just a little bit so that it's not quite as visible. It's really up to you whether you mind the white or you don't. So they do leave just a little bit of white around the edges, and it's up to you whether you want to kind of dust that white away or whether you want to leave the white. Entirely up to you. But this stencil and this stamp go in one direction. That's the direction they go. What if I wanted to use it in another direction? What if? What if I wanted it not to go this way, but I wanted it to go that way? Well, that's just easy turning the stencil. That's easy peasy. So let me grab a piece of paper. And this time I am going to turn the stencil. So now I'm going to do it this way, or maybe I want it that way. It's up to you. So I'm going to do it in a different direction. Stencils have two sides as well. And this time I think I'm going to do it in the raspberry jam. And I'm going to do the reverse. So super light, almost a whisper of a color. Almost a whisper of a color. That's all I'm going to do. Done. Now I'm going to grab my stencil 2 and I'm going to rotate it over. And let's tape it on down. Yes, stencils have two sides. Just because they say it's the front or that it's supposed to face that way doesn't mean that you agree. You want to get the most out of your product, right? And let's go. Oh, I moved it. Let's go darker in my red because I only have two stencils to do my floral in. I don't have any other color that I can layer on top, any other stencil I can layer on top, so I might as well go how dark I want on this one because I don't have to worry. There's not another layer to go on top of this. And I kept it a whisper color on the first stencil so that this color, wow, will pop. Okay. Oh yeah, totally pops. Now I need my stencil here. And now I'm going to rotate it and line it up. I think that's good. And we'll do this quick. I'll just do it in the green. Put my lid back on. A little lighter on my first. I moved my stencil a little, well, I did move it a little bit. But we're gonna go. It's only paper. Lighter in my green. And then my last stencil, flip it over, line it up, tape it down, darker in my green. So now I've done a reverse. And if you're not going to die cut it, easy peasy. But what if I wanted to die cut this? Okay, now what you're seeing here is from, remember I stenciled on this side, so it's the transfer. So if you're going to want to do the reverse, make sure your stencil is clean, but I'm going to die cut this. So I have this one that goes this way, which is how it's supposed to be, but now I've stenciled this way. So let's go get my die. And let's line it up. There's no matter how hard you try, there's no way you're going to be able to line that die up right on top. So how do you get it out? You're going to have to die cut from the back. So what I do is I will, because I'm not willing to not get the most out of my product. I want to cut it both ways. I want it to stencil both ways. Maybe I want to do one on each side of a card and then a sentiment in between. Maybe I want it, I have options. I want options. So knowing that I've stenciled it in the opposite direction that it was supposed to go, says who? I guess they had to make a decision. I get that. But now, I'm going to take my die. I'm going to hold my die cut, my image up to a light, and I'm going to take my die, and I'm just going to center it. Hopefully you can't see up my nose. If you can, don't tell me. Okay. So I'm going to do the best I can. To center it. It might be off, it might be fine, I don't know. We're gonna try, it's white paper. Now you could take some maker's tape and just tape it down to make sure that you don't have to hold it the whole time. Okay, I'm gonna go for it and we're just gonna die cut. Remember, it's white paper. Be easy on yourself. Be kind to yourself when you're doing this, especially if you're doing the reverse. Go gentle on yourself. You may not get it the first time. You may have to hold it up to the light and really get accustomed to doing that. But I want the most out of what I bought. Why does it have to be just one way? So I'm gonna bring my machine over. I am loving my new mount. I don't have any zzz. The camera's probably not shaking at all since it's not attached. It only took us 10 years to figure out how to do it. Better late than never. Oh, my maker's tape didn't hold. Make sure one more time. Well, yep, I'm going for it. Put my do not cut plate over the top. What's the worst that can happen? I have to use a little bit of ink to get rid of some of the red. Okay, I'm good with that. If that's the worst that can happen, then I think life is pretty good. And let's send it on through. Drum roll, please. Brrr. Sound effects required. Oh, not so bad. A little off on the leaves, but you know what? I'm okay with that because all I have to do, little off on the leaves. All I've got to do is grab my green. Hello, green. And if I don't want that white there, be gone, white. Ha! So now we've got it facing both ways, getting the most for your money. Absolutely. That's what it's all about, getting bang for your buck. And Hero Arts has such cute, I wonder if we should stamp this. Hero Arts has such cute stencils and stamps to go with it. The tulips is beautiful. 4 stencils to make the tulips. And the flower, the vase and flowers is just darling. All with the coordinating, you can get a stamp to match. You can get this, the die works with the stencil, the stamp works with the die and the stamp work together. You totally have options. But I think I'm gonna stamp with this. So this is the same stamp that I just did the stencil of. Let's bring over my ink, my gush, my block. This is a clear stamp. And a clear stamp clings onto an acrylic block and then you peel it off and then you put it back down and then you peel it off and then you put it back down. Clear blocks, once you have them, you're to keep them forever and ever and ever. This is a set by Couture Creations. It's a wonderful set. We sell it for $12.50. I think everybody else sells it for about 20 bucks. $12.50 is our everyday price, and it even comes with a little foamy. It gives you 5 different blocks so that you can put 5 different type or size stamps on it. You've got a block for almost every size stamp out there. I know manufacturers who will sell this block alone for close to $12.50. So it's a wonderful value. I'm going to take some white paper. I'm going to put it on my gush pad. I do not have any more gush pads in stock, and I don't know if we're going to ever get them back. Gush pad is a dense foam. It's not a mouse pad. It's denser than a mouse pad. It's not fun foam. It has just the perfect consistency so that when you push in, it sinks down a little bit to make better contact with the paper. If you do not have a gush pad and you are doing a big stamp like this, you may just decide to put your paper right on top and do the back rub method. It's up to you, absolutely. Now this stamp has never been used and I can already feel it's kind of tacky. In the best way possible, meaning there's a residue still on it. So I'm gonna just kind of stamp off a couple times. You can take an eraser and erase the stamp before you use it. You can use Dawn or Palmolive and wash the stamp before you use it. So you could even hear it. It's a little tacky. I'd stamp off, and every time I stamp, I usually get a better and better image, and that tackiness will go away. See, it wasn't nearly as tacky. So let's try now and see what kind of image I get. So I am using India ink dye-based ink. This is an ink from Hero Arts that allows you to put water over the top of it or alcohol ink over the top of it. It does not move. It's not like a distress ink or a reactive ink, an oxide ink. Those are meant to move with water. This is meant to stay. It's not a stays on because that is a permanent ink that you would use for glass or plastic or metal, anything you want to do there. A permanent ink is also alcohol based, so you don't want to use that with your Couture Creations alcohol markers or your Copic markers. An India ink or a Memento Black stays where it's supposed to be when you introduce water to it or an alcohol ink. Let's see what I get. No guts, no glory, right? Think that's good? Nice back rub. Oh yeah, that looks fine. That works for me. So, in fact, I didn't even need to use that. And where's my dye? It's right there. Fabulous. So now that I've got it inked up, I just need to color it. I just need to do something easy and quick to color. So I can use my alcohol markers, I can use my colored pencils, I can use my watercolor pencils because obviously this is not going to move with water. I can, with my colored pencils, I can use my Gamsol. To keep it super simple today and to keep it really affordable, I'm just going to pull out the Sizzix oil pastels again. I used these when we did the Couture Creations, and those orders are going to be shipping relatively soon to you. In the next few weeks, those orders will be out. So I'm pulling these out again just to remind you of what to do with them. These are oil pastels and they are so inexpensive. I want to say they're around $6 from Sizzix. I mean, crazy inexpensive. Not a tremendous amount of color, but what you do get goes a really long way. With oil pastels, a little goes a long way. So I can go in here and it's not chalky. That's important. It's not chalky at all. It is a crayon type of product. It's not like a Marabou crayon because that's water-based. This is oil-based. And I can go in there and I can just kind of scribble. And just kind of scribble. And I'm not coloring the whole thing. I'm leaving some white area. I need some white area because then I'm going to take a paper stub. Paper stub. This is compressed paper. We use it a lot when we use Gamsol. Yeah, this one will do. Paper stub. And I'm just going to move this around. I'm going to soften it. But I don't have to use Gamsol at all with it because these are an oil-based product. And all I have to do is kind of go in a circular motion and smooth it all out. And where I need more, I can add a little more. They're just a very soft pastel. Do they smudge? Actually, they don't. I was shocked. Once they're down and they're smudged out, like what I'm doing now, I think I'm going to sharpen this and get a little bit finer point. So being that this is a paper stub, what you use to sharpen it is a little piece of sandpaper. And that's how I get rid of the color. Let's say I wanted to change up my colors and I didn't want them to mix. You're just going to sand off the color that was on it. And make a new point and you're good to go. So I'm just going to go in here and smudge this out. Once it seems to be smudged out, it doesn't go anywhere after that. Okay, so I've got some color down. It's light. I'm going to come back in maybe with a little bit darker color. And I'm not being picky where I'm putting it. I'm just putting it. And I'm going to smudge that out too. And kind of have that blend into that softer pink to give a little bit of definition. So I'm just trying to give my flower some color, some definition. If I want to go back and add more, I can. A little goes a long way. These oil pastels are going to last you probably a lifetime. I mean, it really, I'm not kidding. They're really, a little goes a long way. Let's add a little yellow for my center. And I have a little yellow stubby over here. And I can just go in and easily color. There's no skill involved here. You're just coloring. So let's add a little of that color to up here. Kind of smudge it on out. Now, those of you who are more in tune with highlights and shadows, sure, you can go in there and do that with all of these, but I'm just trying to get some color down. I just want to make a pretty something and I want to do it relatively quickly. I know that some of you are amazing with your alcohol markers. You could go in there and do this. You could use watercolor. But for the majority of folks, they want to get in, they want to make something pretty, they want to be successful. And if it doesn't cost them a oodle of money, that's even better. So watercolor pencils is a really good option. Colored pencils with Gamsol is a really good option. Or your oil pastels. is a really good option. It's quick, it's efficient, it looks amazing, and it doesn't break the bank. Although Aussie Andrews $1.99 alcohol ink markers don't break the bank either, I'll have to say. SMS Girl Claire will tell you if you come into the shop, she'd rather use them than her Copics. She had struggles with her Copics, and yet she's able to use Aussie Andrews without much problem. Well, without any problem. She does a beautiful job. So color, color, color. Just trying to make it look pretty. Color, color, color. And I'm going to really speed this up. Not the video, just me. I don't like it when you watch videos and the next thing you know, everything is sped up and they're going so fast. And I mean, I understand they're dubbing over the, dubbing the talking part over it so that they get to the next part. But I want to see it. I want to see all of it. I want to see how it's done. I don't want it to go too fast because I'll miss something. So I guess with my videos, there's no chance of that. A little bit of darker. And again, I am literally scribbling. There is no rhyme or reason for where I'm putting it because I'm just going to smudge it and it's just going to add some color to it and a little definition, and I'm going to be happy. Who knew that oil pastels were so stinking easy? All right, I heard you. Me. Oh my gosh, and there's still one more rose. Just when you think you've had it, you got them all. So if you are teaching a class, wow, your people are going to be successful with this. Really, they're going to be wildly successful and thrilled. Now I'm going to take and do my green. Got a green stub. Oh, there's a green stubby. Look at that. And again, I'm just going to kind of come in here because there's so many. I'm just going to put some green on all of them. I missed that flower, that petal. Not anymore. Okay, and I'm just going to move that green. Again, I just took and I just threw some green in there. Now I'm going to move it around. And I'm not worrying about crossing over between one leaf into the other leaf. I'm just trying to get a base color down. I just don't want them to be white. Okay, and if I need a little more somewhere, I add a little more. And smudge it out. And then I'm going to go back with the olive green. And this is where I'm going to add a little bit more color, a little more definition. So that my leaves don't just look flat. All one color and your leaves or your flowers are going to look flat. Couple colors and you add some definition and some depth to it. And it doesn't take long to do. Done. Voila! Voila! And now I get to die cut. Because my die is going to work perfectly. Okay. So let's line it on up. I don't need to have the tape there if I don't want to because I'm on a magnetic platform. So it's going to hold it in place, and because I didn't do it in a reverse, you can't stamp in the reverse. Well, you can mirror stamp. That's not true. You can mirror stamp it and then cut from behind so you have the stamped image twice as well. Yes, Stampenda sells a lovely little mirror stamp. Roll it on through. Oh, something's coming up. Ta-da! And again, if I don't want the green because I wasn't exactly precise, all I have to do is go in and I can add a little green around it, although this looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So what do you like? Now, can you stamp on the stencil? This is the one that's correct. Okay, what can it hurt? What's the worst thing that happens? It's only white paper. Right? What's the worst that can happen? Okay. Well, now here we are. So, do you like it stenciled? Do you like it stenciled and die cut? Stenciled and stamped and die cut? Stamped and no stencil and just colored? Or would you like it just just stenciled? Because you have options. Hello, come on back. You know what? I'm going to open a new one so I don't have to clean that one. Do I have a new one? Oh, I bet I don't. All right, well, because I used both sides. So 2, 1, here, and here. So I'm gonna just wipe down the back side just so it doesn't transfer. Oh, there's the sirens. I was wondering if we were gonna get them. Okay, dry, dry, dry. 1, 1, 1. Tape, tape, tape. Ink, ink, ink. Let's use the soft purple because I haven't done the soft purple in a little bit. There we go. It's an SMS YouTube. Soft, 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 soft. Think soft and light, like a whisper. I should have said like a whisper because I want that first layer to not be too dark because I have that second layer to put on top. Okay, done. Now, 2. And it just lays right on top beautifully. You don't have to line it up. It just finds its place. And then dark, dark, dark. Not as much of a whisper anymore because we want the second layer to stand out. It's what's going to add the definition. Done. Then layer 3. Line it right up. I think that's pretty good. Oh man. Okay, down, down, down. Let's get my green. Should we use a different green? I have no idea what color green this is going to be. Let's just try it. How blue is it going to be? This is too blue. Well, it's kind of blue, but we'll go for it. Light like a whisper. Just light like a whisper. I don't have to mask anything. And then, whoops, my last stencil. Well, we heard nothing for a long time, and now we're hearing oodles of... I don't know if you can still hear the sirens going. All right, and then let's find my lime green to go over the top. Why not? Lime, 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 lime. So now you'll see that we have the stencil on paper, and you could just use it that way. We've got the stencil die cut. We've got the stencil end stamp and die cut. Okay, your decision, your choice. You have options. Here we have it, just the stencil. You mat it on paper, you're done. Here we have the stencil that's been die cut. Here we have the stencil, the stamp, and the die cut. And here we have the stamp and the die cut and colored in with our oil pastels. So you can see how versatile these can be. Yes, they're a little more money. I'm not gonna say that they're not, because they are. I wanna say the stencils run about $14.99, and then the stamp alone, if you just wanted the stamp by itself, I don't know if it's $15.99 maybe. If you were to do the stamp and, let's see, where are you? Well, the stamp and die combo, it's, I don't know, is it maybe $25, $29? I mean, it's definitely a different ballpark than the Studio Light, where the Studio Light you're getting at about $5 a stencil. Yeah, it's a different game. There's no question about it. But does that mean that one is better than the other? No, it just depends upon what it is you want to do with them. Where's my beautiful Studio Light samples? Here they are. If this is what you're wanting to achieve and you don't need to have the additional stamp or the additional die cut, then the Studio Light's going to work out beautifully for you. If you're on a crafty budget, the Studio Light's going to work out beautiful for you. If you just like the stencils from Hero Arts, well, at $14.99, I think that's a reasonable price, and I'm pretty sure that's what they are. I'm almost positive that's what they are. But maybe you're not a stencil person and you like the stamp and the die set. There you go, then you have it. Maybe you don't stamp, or maybe you don't die cut or stencil at all and you just want the stamp. There you have it. But the idea is that different manufacturers, different options. Not one of them is better than the other. They're all fabulous, and it really just depends upon you. You're the deciding factor. Where do you want to put your crafty budget? And that's where you put it. You don't have to choose one over the other. You decide what works best for you. And it's nice that the Studio Light has made it affordable for people to do layering. It's beautiful. I love the fact that it comes on one sheet. Yes, you have to mask off and it takes a little extra time. I get that. But look at the value that you're getting. And then Hero Arts always does a lovely job. The fact that everything absolutely coordinates and that you can use it independently or together. And maybe one time you just do this, and maybe the next time you do this. And remember, I reversed this one. And maybe the next time you do this. Isn't it nice to know that you're able to change things up with what you have? All right, so what did we do? Well, I just talked about what we did today. I absolutely did. Okay, so then what will be on sale? Well, I'll do an I Want It All bundle for the 4 new cubes. We'll put the other 24 cubes that are the original cubes open stock, but the I Want It All is for the 4 new cubes for Q1. There'll be 16 new cubes for 2022 in total, and this is the 4 new. And like I said, I chose them based off of, I swatched all these out. I swatched them all out, and then I swatched out every color I could possibly choose from. They gave me all the colors I could choose from, and without looking at the names, or whether it was a new color or an older color, an existing color or a color we could add, I didn't care about that. I just started to lay out color families to find where we had holes. We did not have a brown. We needed a brown. We did not have good purples. We needed more purples, and we needed a reddish, burgundy-ish, pretty color in the raspberry jam. So I thought that these were the first 4 to start with. I've got that on sale for you. We'll put the dye ink, the white dye, I don't know if you all knew that Hero Arts made a white dye based ink. They do. And it's different than the unicorn ink. It is not as white as the unicorn ink, but the unicorn ink is a pigment-based ink that sits on top of paper. This absorbs in. So this lets you lighten things, where the unicorn ink is just gonna cover it. This lets you blend and lighten and smooth things. So we'll do the India ink and the dye-based white ink on sale for you. I'll do, of course, the Aussie Andrew blender brushes with the little hats on them. So they retail for $5 and we'll put them on sale for you. Love the little hats. The Sizzix is already, I think we're just going to do it at whatever price it was, $5.59 or $6, something like that. But these are, if you have kids, if you have a crafty class, if you have church or school or youth group or whatever, these are a great way for them to color, and you just literally smudge them. You can't get any easier than that. I've got all of the Studio Light, the 4. We'll do an I Want It All bundle on those, and then also open stock. Please remember, do not throw away. Don't throw this away. This is your, oh yeah, that's how I do it sheet. Each one of them has their own, oh yeah, that's how I do it sheet. So keep those, don't throw them away. And then of course we have all of the Hero Arts. So whether you want the stamp and die set, whether you want the stamp alone, the stencil alone, or the stamp, the die, and the stencil. I mean, it's up to you however you want it, but the I Want It All bundle. And of course, we've got the tulips, standalone, tulips with the die, the tulip stencil, the vase with flowers, stamp, the vase with flowers, stamp and die, and then the stencil. And if you were to buy all the 3 pieces, well, actually, the I Want It All is only going to have the stamp and the die and the stencil, because you don't need 2 stamps, right? So if you were to get the stamp and die set and the coordinating stencil for each one in the I Want It All, Hero Arts is going to include a freebie for you. So you have some sentiments. Isn't that nice? And I want to say it's a $15.99 purchase, is my guess, what it is as a free gift. So options aplenty, absolutely, without question. Let's do samples. So, how lovely is this? Hello. Isn't that a beautiful card? This is done with Studio Light. And then I showed you this one also in the beginning. This is Hero Arts. And here's a Studio Light. Now we fussy cut these out. Since there's no die to go with it, if you want to cut it out, you just have to fussy cut. And they're very simple. Look at this from Hero Arts with the tulips. Isn't that beautiful? Tulips are gorgeous. And then Studio Light. And then Hero Arts. And then Studio Light. And Studio Light. And then let's bring these over. I showed you this one in the beginning, I think. Studio Light. And SMS guy James is back this week. Here is James's card. And he incorporated black. Look at that. So that's Studio Light. Here we have Hero Arts. Look at how fun and cute is this card. So we have the stamp, we have the stamp and die, we have the stencil. Options. And then we have Studio Light. And Hero Arts. You can't go wrong with any of them. They're all going to give you opportunities to do more and more and more. Studio Light. Hero Arts. And then Claire did a layout with Studio Light. So let me back it up just a little bit. Pretty, right? So Studio Light flowers and leaves, Studio Light. Isn't that beautiful? I think SMS boy Michael Jr.'s taking out the trash is what's rolling back and forth. So this is Claire's layout. So it was the tale of two manufacturers. They both did something similar, but not really. They both incorporated layering stencils, but one kept it price point conscious and one gave you the world. Guess that's the way to look at it. One gave you a staycation where you gotta stay home because that's all you can afford for a vacation and you do little day trips, and one gave you a tour of the world. What works best for you? Which did you like more? Which are you going, well, I wouldn't mind trying that. I've never done that before, but for $5 I could certainly give it a whirl. Or were you, I am all in about Hero Arts, sign me up? You decide. It's up to you. And isn't that nice to know that there's a breadth of product that covers a little bit of something for everybody. Everybody feels included. Everybody can do this, and nobody's left behind. So, big thank you to Hero Arts. Appreciate they had to rush some stuff to me. Thank you. Big help. and to all of you for being a part of our crafty channel here, the Scrapbooking Made Simple channel here on YouTube, and joining me every Saturday for our Saturday with Stacy full-length commercial-free YouTube classes that are not monetized. No commercials in the middle. I don't have a say if they put a commercial in the front of my YouTubes. They get to do that. YouTube gets to do that without my permission, and I don't get paid a dime. But you know what? They're giving me 2.5 hours of their bandwidth for free. Thanks, YouTube. But Google can afford it. So anyway, it's me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. Where will you find all of this product? You may be able to find the Hero Arts at your local independent retailer, and I encourage you to shop local independent retailers. Huge, big online stores are not local independent retailers, but if that's all you've got, or a mass, if you've got Michael's or Hobby Lobby, then you know what? There's something there for everybody, and they need to stay in business just like we do, but we always ask that you start small and work out to the bigger. Also, if you don't have a local independent, well, then you have to go online, and we completely understand that. You have lots of options. We'd love it if you choose us, but shop where you're most comfortable as long as you stay crafty. That is the most important thing, is that you be able to stay crafty and afford your hobby, because It just makes you happy, doesn't it? Does me. All right, you guys. Me, Stacy, Scrapbooking Made Simple, scrapbookingmadesimple.com. I'll see you all next week. Bye.